Hey guys, it's me. Not in the flesh as such, but I'm finally doing a video after a year. So it's been quite a year, and now this channel's, I don't know what this channel's about anymore. It'll have a mixture of reborns, what's happening in my life, I suppose. But of late, or probably from a year ago, I was delving into junk journaling, and yeah. So this is my first video since all that time away. So we'll see how I go. This is the first journal I've actually completely finished. The last journal I showed in my last video, a year ago now, I actually did a bit more to that. I was supposed to video it, but I have given it to the person, my friend, who's also a widow. I've given it to her to finish, actually, because I thought it was very therapeutic, to say the least. So, and she's very much a journaler, as in writing, but I thought the creative aspect of journaling would really help her broken heart to really sit with where she's at, but by a creative means. And I know it's really helped me. So I present to you now my mother-in-law's journal. Now, I came to the idea of doing this because my mother-in-law had given me a whole heap of my husband's stuff from when he was a baby till he was, an adult. And so I wanted to make a journal of those aspects for her to look on. And so I did this. So this was actually, excuse me, brought about, this was my inspiration. This was Brent's, as you can see, Brent's placemat. I don't know when he did this or when it was done, but it says 1974 at the bottom. He was born in 1972, so, but that was my inspiration. As you can see, Brent's place and the car, you'll see it in aspects of the journal, which we better get into. There you go, Brent's place. This is what the journal's called, is Brent's place. Now, I've only just sort of finished, and this is my first time actually showing or displaying a journal. So the journal's way over here, I'm way over here, so... Okay, so now this is Brent's place. I've got it tied with a piece of string that's stuck to the book. This is an altered book. I just thought it'd be easier for me because I've never done a junk journal before, so doing the sewing and stuff, I didn't want it to be, fiddly for me and then ripping it. And so, but don't worry, this was fiddly. Okay, so then this is one of Brent's favourite books, actually. I have another couple of copies of the same book, and it's a very old book. It's in the 80s, so it's a vintage book. So I used this book to alter, and I've used a bit of hessian, so some lace, some fabric, trim. This is fabric. I hope I'm showing that well. This is book corners made out of, please forgive me, book corners made out of cardboard. So pretty much everything in here is scrap. There may be a sticker or two, but everything else I have used packaging or something and I've decorated it up besides Brent's stuff. Okay, this is some hessian that I found. It's actually my old Billabong hat that Brent loved, because Billabong was the year I was established, 1973, so that gives my age away. Some more the book corners. I hope that's doing justice. So yeah, so she's very, very thick. Okay, so we'll undo it. Just checking that everything's okay, that you can see it. Okay, and if you hear a crow in the background, guys, sorry. What a time for the crow to crow. And Brent didn't like crows. Okay, so as you can see here, inside the cover is Brent's placemat. Now, I photocopied it, of course, and just seeing, yep. Now here's a little tag tuck spot. This is supposed to be also was supposed to also come out, but it's actually stuck in there now since I put this one in. So it's just this. It's a little message for Joan. Because she lives in Brisbane and I live outback Queensland, I hardly get a chance to see her or my family. So I want this to be something of a memory for her for when I'm not here. Now, I hope you can see that. Yes, I'm just moving my finger to make sure. But here, this says for Mum, love Brent. But the for Mum was actually written by Brent in a note that he'd left for his mum. So I'd photocopied that and put it on the book. So I just did some collage around it. And I've made some little tags. I don't do it all the way through, but in some of them so that she can pick up the page without fumbling. She is 80 years old and quite feeble. She doesn't have dementia, but she is feeble, a wee bit shaky. So I try to make everything as sturdy as possible. That's why there's probably not as many pockets in here as such. So she doesn't have to muck around. It's just there for pretty much like a lap book. But I thought of that halfway through. So this is Brent as a baby, and it's the only baby photo actually available of him that is left. And it's a black and white one. I've got a baby photo of me the year after, and I'm in colour. So yeah, so that's Brent, which I just collaged around. It's in a heart. I don't know where I got it from. I think it was a photo thing. So I've just paper clipped it there, and underneath is photocopies of his cards that they were given, and I've just backed them with what was said in the cards, so there's no flipping over of the cards in these. So yeah, so that's when Brent was born. So these are all 53 years old. So yeah. And I just put it in a little pocket here with a B. Might chuck that around, and I'll have to put these back. I don't have to. I might not have to, actually. Okay, so this is Brent's baby book. It was filled about when he was about 2, I think, or throughout. So I've photocopied some stuff out of here and put it into the journal. So this is the front page. This was his feeding chart, and his weight chart pages, and when his teeth came. So he was about 12 months old when his teeth were coming. Oh no, he would have been less because he was born in May. Whatever that is. See, my maths isn't good, but he was probably 7, 8 months old. These are all his baby firsts that I photocopied and put in little booklet form. And I put some stickers in there of all the firsts he did that was recorded here. Okay, there's his birth extract I'd collaged and put in there. A song, Children Are a Trust from God, which, Susan, you'll recognise that song. Now, this here is a card. This is a little belly band, and I made it quite simple because this card, and I'll show you the original one, it is absolutely beautiful. I'd rather show you the original one. But this is photocopied, and I try to make it, I mimicked it to this as best I could. So here we have a beautiful ribbon on there, and it's, wow, 53 years old, 52 years old. And this came from his great-grandma. It's absolutely beautiful. It says God's masterpiece, and she writes, so she said it's a little great-grandson. She hopes that he will grow up to be a good man, and he did grow up to be a good man. Just making sure that everything's seeable still. There you go, guys, just in case Okay, so that was from his great-grandma, and it has a waterfall edge. And it was quite a bit to put this together, I tell you now. Look how old that is. Rusted staples in there. I just thought it was so cute. And I even photocopied it right to the back. So it's pretty much the same. When you photocopy stuff, things go a lot lighter. but it really showed. Even brought in the staples. The rusted staples were left in the photocopy, except I glued everything together, and even the back. So that goes in there. Just a bit of a scripture. That's the Apostle John, if anyone wants to know. This is a card in a pocket, and I've just got Brent's name torn there. So that was his name and all the meanings for it. And this is a card that I've just put a little ribbon on to put in there. It was his, actually, I think it was his christening card, but the original is even better, and it doesn't show up. The gold foiling doesn't show up on photocopies, but if you can see that, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Which is a pity. So this was done 18th of June 1972 with all the family that turned up. Just so beautiful. No, there was no christening picture, but apparently the photo here is the christening picture, apparently. So in this side we have more of his cards. So I've just put them in an envelope in there. So I wasn't feebly in bringing them out, but I'll bring them out. And I pretty much did the same as, I don't think, oh yes, so that way she can look at them. This one I've just flipped over. Now this one here, the gold foiling didn't come out. See the gold foiling in that? Isn't that beautiful? And the print, I don't know if the print is coming. Yeah, sort of, well, you can see it in the photocopy. Sorry about moving my tripod, but yeah. This one had an embossed edge around it, which didn't show up in the photocopy, which is a pity. And this, so yeah, so that's them. I'll put them back in, but they go in there. So I did a couple of pages of Brent, and then some pages I do for Joan, just to look at, feel, touch. I even cheated on apparently there's a challenge now, July Junk Journal Challenge for 2025, and I've actually used this in one of the prompts, which was a touch of gold. Some lace there with some fabric backing it, just to help me do a tip in. So I got this page. When I did this, Joan just lost her partner of 30 years, which is Brent's stepfather, Noel. And I saw Noel in this page, so I grabbed it, and he was 89 when he passed. So it's a bit of a remembrance of him as well involved. So they go like that and that. And here we go. Here's Brent, the young boy. So that one can pull out. I just got a photo envelope. Brent. So these go in chronological order as he grows. So he's younger, then an older. There. I've done a tag here in this pocket, and Brent's behind it. There we go. I'm trying to make it as less feeble as possible. Just a little collage next there. This is a page for Joan. Just a bit of a tuck spot with a window. I kept it empty because I like the grey. It sort of went with the rest of the page, but she can put a photo in there. I like this tag. It says 100% paper. These are just, I kept these as they were because it explains from this book. It is part of the original book and explains what me and Brent believed. But I loved this picture. She loved her garden and her flowers, so I liked putting as much flowers as I could. More of Brent going to school. So another little tag. And these open up. Sarah Lee, thank you for giving me this idea. I was stuck on a page and I did this. So yeah, probably made it a bit different to you. You had 2 pockets. But it's what do you call it, hands-free. It's not going to be hard for her to do herself. So Brent's just getting a bit older. These are all school photos. So they didn't have to wear a uniform all the time. Bit of a pocket there. There's also a tuck spot there. Not that she'll be using it. That's Brent there again. Might be something in there, so I'll put that in after. Check what's in there. This is a bit of a page for Joan. It's got a little tuck spot there. She may want to write on that. She still writes little things. And these are just little pages. So it's something that me and Joan could possibly do, or she could do in the nursing home where she is. She can stick little things there, probably do some writing if she wants to. This little collage. She was a sewer, so that's why I use this part of the page. She did a lot of sewing. So Brent was about 13 here, and he was 15 here. Now, Brent and I met 2 years later after this photo, so many years ago, and I rejected him 4 times back then. So this is what he looked like back then. So yeah, he did want to go out with me, but I said no. And he asked a couple of times, or 4 times over the ensuing few years from that year. I just said no. So, little tag that says I'm thinking of her. This is just see if I can lift that up. Now, Brent, I made a card for Brent for his mum. So that's his writing. I had it photoed and put on a little tag and put on a just a flip thing. And I just love this background. Come from a magazine. This is when me and Brent met up again 30 years later. So in the background is Mulaney. That was our first photo together. This was our first date at Caloundra. This is our wedding. That happened a year, or probably 8 months after those photos. So this is Noel and Joan. And my wedding was very special. Brent was the bride. I was the groom. All I did was get my wedding dress, and he arranged everything else. He was also a chef, so he cooked the meal. He done a fantastic job. He decorated the wedding. He did the flowers. Me and him did the flowers together. We dyed our roses in the bouquet. But everything else, he did his own suit. He thought out the colours. We had lavender for flowers. He did everything. I just bought my dress. This is my dad. So sadly, my dad's currently in palliative care. And Joan always asks about my dad and how he is. So I probably won't have him much longer. So I'm actually going to Brisbane, not only to present Joan this journal, but also to see my dad. This was at my brother's wedding dinner that my dad did. And when Brent passed, the wake for Brent was actually in the same spot. He is actually sitting in the same spot where we had the wake. So he loved guitars, he loved rock, he loved old cars. He lived in an area in Glasshouse where there was pineapples. He was very old school. These were just orchids that Joan had given to me, and Brent helped me grow them. So we have white orchids and these beautiful purple orchids. And Brent had built this greenhouse on the back of where we were living. We were living on the same property as Joan and Noel. So that's when he finished it. He was pretty proud. All my plants went in there. This is Brent, his cousin, his auntie, Joan's sister-in-law, and her second husband. Brent, and, well, that's not his guitar, but it was a guitar he bought from Eldie. He was proud, and he took off his beard. He was very nicely, when he was clean shaven. Just a beautiful, I saw this wrapping paper and just thought it was gorgeous. And this is from a family history book inside. So Brent was adopted. So Joan's his adopted mother, but I found Brent's biological parents. He was trying to find them. Sadly, I found them after he'd passed. And this is Brent's biological paternal grandfather, so his father's father, and his sister. And you can see the similarity, the eyes. And these are Brent's daughters. Sadly, he never got to see them. He last saw them when they were 8 and 7. So he was estranged from them, but they came to the funeral. So my heart goes out to them that they never got to see their dad. Just a beautiful picture. What the Bible promises in the future. So me and Brent's wedding, this is in the back of Peachester, so that is all glasshouse, as you can tell. We sort of lived, I was actually asking Brent, where do we live? And we're over here. We lived in the mountains over here. And I just saw this picture, and this is us in the future, pointing to just all the beautiful things when he gets resurrected. This is me and Joan. And this is Brentley. So no, this is not a real baby, just for those who don't know. So this is a doll. It's a reborn doll that I had made to look like Brent. Wendy Buck did a beautiful job. And this is the day I reborned him, actually put him together. So I had him made and he came to me in pieces apart. And so I weighted him, put stuffing in him, and he's a full body, anatomically correct under that picture. And I was going to put ashes, because this is full vinyl, in the doll. But when I got the doll, I had actually rang a crematorium. And they just said, and if anyone doesn't know, ashes or cremations, if air gets on them, they go like concrete. And I want to be joined with Brent when I die, and I want my children to scatter us somewhere. And so I really did not want his cremains going like ashes. So there's a little bit of ashes and a little heart thing that's in his chest. So that's Brentley, which I take to see Joan every time I see her, and she just adores him. She knows he's not a real baby, but she finds it a very great comfort. This is just a little... I did this page for the Junk Journal Challenge for 2025, something vintage. This is just a butterfly. I love this butterfly, so I stuck it on this beautiful picture of carnations, which Joan loves carnations. This is Brent's pamphlet when he passed at his funeral. And I just thought that was a beautiful picture to end the book. So that is Brent's Place Junk Journal for my mother-in-law. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm very sure it is quite heavy actually, so I am going to find a bag that can be slotted in so she can carry it if she needs it carried somewhere, but I think she'll just use it as display, bring it down. But that's my first junk journal, guys, and you got to see all of that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm starting my new one, Susan, getting the pages ready together. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good one, guys. Bye.